The old grandfather clock in the hallway chimed 7 times, its deep, resonant tones echoing through the house. Little Sarah's eyes widened with excitement as she bounded down the stairs, her pigtails bouncing with each step. Today was her 8th birthday, and she couldn't wait to see what presents awaited her. As Sarah entered the living room, her gaze immediately fell upon a large, ornate box sitting on the coffee table. Her parents stood nearby, smiling warmly. "Go ahead, sweetie," her mother encouraged. "Open it." With trembling fingers, Sarah carefully lifted the lid. Inside, nestled in a bed of crinkled tissue paper, lay a porcelain doll. Its pale, delicate features were framed by cascading golden curls, and its blue glass eyes seemed to sparkle in the soft lamplight. "It's beautiful," Sarah whispered, gently lifting the doll from its box. As she cradled it in her arms, a strange sensation prickled at the back of her neck. For just a moment she could have sworn the doll's eyes had moved, following her mother as she walked across the room. That night, as Sarah lay in bed, the doll propped up on her nightstand, she found herself unable to sleep. The shadows in her room seemed deeper, more menacing than usual. Just as she was about to call out for her parents, a soft, high-pitched giggle broke the silence. Sarah's heart raced as she sat up, her eyes darting around the darkened room. The sound had been so faint, she wasn't sure if she'd imagined it, but there it was again. A quiet titter, like the laughter of a small child. It seemed to be coming from the direction of the doll. When morning came, Sarah rubbed her tired eyes and looked toward her nightstand. The doll was gone. Panic gripped her as she searched her room, finally finding the toy sitting primly in her rocking chair, its painted smile somehow wider than she remembered. Over the next few days, Sarah began to notice strange occurrences. Each morning, the doll would be in a different place on top of her bookshelf, peeking out from her closet, or sometimes even sitting at the foot of her bed. She tried to tell her parents, but they dismissed her concerns, assuming she was moving the doll herself and forgetting about it. One afternoon, as Sarah was doing her homework, she heard a faint scratching sound. Looking up, she gasped in horror. Long jagged marks were appearing on the wall behind her desk, as if invisible claws were raking across the paint. The doll sat nearby, its glassy stare fixed on the growing scratches. That night at dinner, Sarah couldn't eat. Her face was pale, and dark circles had formed under her eyes from lack of sleep. "The doll talks to me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "When no one else is around, it tells me things, ... terrible things." Her father sighed, exchanging a worried glance with her mother. "Sarah, honey, dolls can't talk. It's just your imagination getting the better of you." But Sarah knew better. She'd heard the doll's voice, a sickly sweet whisper that sent chills down her spine. It spoke of darkness and pain, of ancient curses and stolen souls. And worst of all, it promised that soon, very soon, it would no longer be content with just talking. As the days passed, Sarah grew more withdrawn. She refused to sleep in her room, insisting on curling up on the living room couch instead. Her parents were at their wits' end, unsure how to help their daughter overcome what they believed to be an irrational fear. Then, one night, as Sarah's mother was heading to bed, she paused in the hallway. A faint sound caught her attention, a soft, childlike giggle coming from Sarah's room. Her blood ran cold as she realized it couldn't be her daughter. Sarah was still fast asleep on the couch downstairs. With trembling hands, she pushed open the bedroom door. The room was dark, save for a sliver of moonlight streaming through the curtains. And there, silhouetted against the window, sat the doll. As the door creaked open, its head slowly turned, those glass eyes now glowing with an eerie, otherworldly light. Sarah's mother stumbled backward, her scream caught in her throat. She slammed the door shut and ran downstairs, shaking her husband awake. Together, they huddled on the couch with Sarah, listening to the soft pitter-patter of tiny footsteps moving about upstairs. When morning came, they steeled themselves to enter Sarah's room. The doll was nowhere to be found. Relief washed over them, but it was short-lived. For as they turned to leave, they saw it, the doll, sitting on their own bed, its porcelain hands stained with something dark and wet. That was the last straw. They packed up and left the house that very day, leaving behind all of Sarah's toys, including the cursed doll. As they drove away, Sarah looked back through the rear window. There, in her bedroom window, she saw a small figure waving goodbye. Its eyes glowed in the shadows, a promise that this wasn't the end. Years passed, and Sarah grew into a young woman. She never spoke of the doll again, but the memories haunted her dreams. Sometimes, on quiet nights, she would wake with a start, certain she'd heard a familiar giggle echoing in the darkness. And somewhere, in an old abandoned house, a porcelain doll sits patiently, its painted smile never fading. It waits, knowing that one day, another child will come, another soul to play with, to torment, to claim. For the curse of the doll is eternal, and its hunger for fear is never satisfied. As the wind whistles through the empty rooms of that forgotten home, if you listen closely, you might hear it. The soft, chilling laughter of a toy that is anything but innocent. And if you dare to look through the dusty windows, you might catch a glimpse of glowing eyes in the darkness, watching, waiting for their next victim to come home.